All right, let's dive into something we all kind of push aside sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's really the key to everything,
Mm-hmm.
and that's our health.
Absolutely.
We're looking at The Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett. Law 9. Always prioritize your first foundation. Ready.
Yeah, let's unpack this. It's interesting, how Bartlett doesn't jump into the typical, business stuff. He goes straight to the core, to our well-being, and says that without that strong foundation of health, everything else is shaky.
Yeah, he uses this analogy that Warren Buffett uses
Oh, okay.
to really drive this point home. Imagine you're given your dream car,
Okay, yeah.
but there's a catch. It's the only car you'll ever have.
Whoa.
Right.
It changes things. You start thinking about really long-term maintenance, not just the fun stuff, no wear and tear.
Exactly. You'd be like scheduling oil changes religiously,
Yeah.
washing it all the time, freaking out over every little scratch.
Oh, for sure. It makes you realize how we should be treating our minds and bodies.
Totally.
They're like the vehicles for our entire lives, right?
Mhm.
Taking us through everything, every experience, challenge. But we often treat them worse than a car.
Way worse. I know I'm definitely guilty of that sometimes. The late nights,
Yeah, yeah.
sipping workouts, grabbing whatever's easiest to eat.
Oh, yeah.
Easy to fall into those traps.
It is. It is.
Bartlett himself, he admits this in the book. He spent a lot of time prioritizing everything to his health.
Right.
And then, the pandemic hit.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like this huge wake-up call.
Absolutely. Yeah, and he talks about how the pandemic really showed that connection between health and resilience, right? I mean, he mentions the study that found people dealing with obesity were 113% more likely to be hospitalized with COVID.
Wow,
That's a powerful statistic.
yeah.
Makes you think about how, neglecting our health can literally make us more vulnerable to whatever comes our way.
For sure. Bartlett uses this powerful metaphor to kind of illustrate this. Imagine all the good things in your life.
Hmm.
Relationships, career, possessions.
Okay.
They're all like items on a table.
Okay. I like where this is going.
The table itself represents your health.
Okay, so you can lose things on the table, right? Maybe some setbacks here and there.
Sure.
But as long as the table, your health is solid, you can always rebuild.
You got it. But if the table collapses,
Uh,
everything comes crashing down. And that's really the core of what Bartlett's saying. Prioritize your health. And not just to live longer, but to support everything else you want in life.
Absolutely. It's like creating this foundation that lets you fully experience the world, be with your loved ones, chase your passions for as long as possible.
Exactly. And Bartlett didn't just talk about this. He actually made some big changes.
Oh, really?
After that pandemic wake-up call,
Okay.
he totally changed his diet, committed to regular exercise, prioritized sleep.
Wow. And what's so fascinating is that he didn't just see physical improvements. There were all these positive effects in every area of his life. Better productivity, stronger relationships, more confidence.
It's like that saying, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live.
Mm.
But Bartlett takes it further. It's not about surviving. It's about thriving.
Right, right. And in the book, he doesn't just focus on himself. He brings in insights from other really successful people, showing how putting health first is something a lot of high achievers do.
So we're seeing why prioritizing our health is so important. But how do we actually do it?
Yeah.
What does that look like in reality? What kind of changes did Bartlett make? And what can we learn from him? Let's get into that after this.
So before we were talking about Stephen Bartlett's Law 9, Always Prioritize Your First Foundation, from his book, The Diary of a CEO. We talked about how important health is for a good life. Remember that car analogy? And how the pandemic was a wake-up call.
Yeah, it's clear that taking care of our health isn't just about, living longer. It's about having more energy, better focus, and the strength to really go after what we want in life.
Exactly. And that brings us to, the practical stuff. Bartlett didn't just, think about health. He completely changed how he lived. He talks about overhauling his diet, which is a good place to start.
So what did that look like? I mean, was it all about eating salads?
It was more than that. Bartlett really focused on food as fuel, choosing foods that were packed with nutrients, stuff that would help him physically and mentally. He cut way back on sugar, processed foods, and refined grains.
That's a big change. I know when things get busy, it's easy to grab whatever is quick.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
But why those specific changes?
Well, he talks about the science behind it. How those kinds of foods can cause inflammation, make your energy crash, and even mess with your mood. By cutting them out, he was trying to, create a more stable environment for his body and mind.
So it's not just about, like, looking good or fitting into a certain size.
No, not at all.
It's about how food affects our energy, our focus, our well-being.
Exactly. He also started eating a lot more whole foods.
Okay?
Lots of fruits and vegetables and lean proteins. Those are the things that give our bodies the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants that we need to work properly.
That makes sense. Give your body the good stuff.
Yeah, instead of just empty calories.
Did he follow a specific diet or, like, a certain plan?
He didn't really say he followed one specific diet. He really emphasizes personalized nutrition. You know, what works for one person might not work for another. He thinks you should experiment
Oh, interesting.
and pay attention to how different foods make you feel, both physically and mentally.
So it's about understanding the connection between what you eat and how you feel. Not just following rules, but adapting things to what your body needs.
Exactly. And he also says it's not about, like, depriving yourself or trying to be perfect.
That's good to hear.
He has his indulgences sometimes. You know, life is meant to be enjoyed.
It's all about balance. Making healthy choices, but not being too restrictive.
Exactly. And he applies that balanced approach to other areas of his life, too. Like, besides diet, he also really focuses on exercise.
Okay, so what did his workout routine look like? Was he running marathons?
Not exactly. He's more about consistency and doing things he enjoys. He mentions weight training, running, and
Yeah.
even just moving more throughout the day.
So it's about finding ways to move that you actually like and that you can stick with.
Right. He also talks about prioritizing sleep and staying hydrated.
That's a big one. Getting enough sleep always feels like something I can't afford.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle with that. But Bartlett thinks we need to change how we think about sleep. He says it's not a luxury, it's essential. Like, to function at your best in every area of your life.
That makes sense. You can't be productive or creative or even nice to be around when you're exhausted.
Exactly. And it's not just about how much you sleep, but the quality of your sleep, too. Bartlett talks about having a regular sleep schedule, making your bedroom relaxing, and avoiding screens before bed.
I see the big picture now. It's about taking a holistic approach to well-being, prioritizing your sleep, your diet, your movement, your mental health.
Right. They all work together to create that solid foundation Bartlett keeps talking about.
Okay, so we know our well-being is multifaceted, but it can be overwhelming. Where do we even begin? What's the first step to building this foundation?
That's the question, isn't it? And we'll explore it more after a quick break. Stay tuned.
All right, we're back. And the big question is, how do we actually, put all this into practice? We've seen why prioritizing our health matters. We've seen the changes Bartlett made. But it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Where do we even start?
Yeah, it's definitely a journey. It's not like an overnight fix.
Right.
But Bartlett has this great perspective in his book, Progress, Not Perfection.
I like that.
Instead of trying to change everything all at once, he says just find one small, sustainable change, something you can actually commit to.
So what kind of small changes are we talking about?
Anything, really. Maybe you swap out, like, sugary drinks for water for a week.
Okay. Or commit to a 15-minute walk every day.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's having a consistent sleep schedule, or even just adding a short meditation to your mornings.
The key is to choose something that feels doable, something you can stick with, right? Because building momentum is so important.
Absolutely. Bartlett talks about how even those small wins, they can have a ripple effect. Like as you start to feel the benefits, maybe you're more energized or you sleep better or you're less stressed.
Yeah.
It creates this positive feedback loop.
It shows you that taking care of yourself is actually worth it.
Exactly. It's an investment, not a chore.
Right.
And as you start to feel more confident, you can gradually, add more healthy habits or just up the intensity of what you're already doing.
So it's not about, like, trying to climb Mount Everest in a day.
No.
It's like setting up base camp, getting used to things, and then slowly making your way up.
I like that. It really emphasizes that gradual, sustainable approach.
Yeah.
Another thing Bartlett talks about is mindset, like changing how we see health. Not as some optional extra, but as that non-negotiable foundation.
Yeah, it's about understanding that taking care of ourselves isn't selfish. It's actually the most generous thing we can do for ourselves and the people we love.
Because when we feel good, we can give more in all areas of our lives. We could be more present with our loved ones, more productive at work, and more able to chase after our passions.
And we're stronger when things get tough. Remember that statistic about obesity and COVID? Taking care of our health can actually help us handle whatever life throws at us.
It all goes back to that metaphor of the table. When the table, our health is strong, we can handle anything. But if it crumbles, everything becomes unstable.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's ask ourselves this. What's one small change we can commit to today to start building that first foundation?
It doesn't have to be anything huge. Maybe it's choosing an apple instead of chips, taking the stairs, or taking 10 minutes to meditate.
The important thing is to take action. Even a small step is a step in the right direction.
And remember, progress over perfection. We're all in this together. We encourage you to check out Stephen Bartlett's book, The Diary of a CEO, for more insights.
And let us know what you're doing to prioritize your well-being. Let's inspire each other to build lives that are not just successful, but truly fulfilling.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the foundation of greatness. Stay curious, stay well, and keep striving for that thriving life.